Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to all present here. Today's topic of discussion is Navigating Global Cybersecurity Risk GRC Strategies for Next Generation Tech Leaders. I'm Lakshita, and it's my privilege to anchor today's session. This lecture is part of our Cyber Sunday series, a structured initiative designed to promote awareness, learning, and informed engagement in the field of cyber safety, law, and technology. Through Cyber Sunday series, we bring together experts, investigators, and practitioners to share real world insights into cyber threats, governance framework, risk management, and compliance strategies. This evening marks our sixth Cyber Sunday, and by the end of it, we are shaping ourselves into a group that speaks with clarity, confidence, and purpose, ready to spread awareness and safeguard our communities online. Today is about building that foundation. Before we teach anyone else, we must understand the battlefield we are standing on, the intersection of cybersecurity risk, governance, and leadership in the digital age. It's my honor to introduce today's distinguished speaker, Dr. Priyanka Sundar. Is a renowned expert and Vice President, Information Security, SMFG, India Credit Company Limited. She is a dynamic award winning information security leader with over 16 years of experience across BFSI, NBFC, and global consulting. As the current VP of Information Security at SMFG India Credit, she is a specialist in GRC frameworks, NIST CSF 2.0, and cloud security optimization. A recognized thought leader and advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion, she has addressed high impact forums, including the CISO 6 Summit and Global Roundtable with Anomaly. Beyond her corporate leadership at firms like HDFC Bank and KPMG, Ms. Priyanka has trained over 4,900 individuals in cybersecurity awareness, making her a powerhouse in bridging the gap between complex technical security and operational resilience. Her expertise span across cybersecurity law, digital risk frameworks, and leadership strategies, making her uniquely positioned to guide us through today's topic. We are honored to welcome you, ma'am. Without further ado, I'd like to hand over the mic to you.
Hello, Lakshita. Hello, everyone. Um, a warm welcome to this session. And firstly, happy Women's Day to everyone. It's International Women's Day today. So thank you for taking time and attending this session. I'm sure you will benefit from some of the real case study examples I'm going to share today. Just a correction. I think the team was informed about this, but maybe they just got confused. I'm no longer with SMFG India Credit. I have moved into a different role of a co-founder and chief human risk intelligence officer at Secure Mojo. So that's mentioned here, but then in the description you're still talking about SMFG India Credit, so I just want to correct that. And also, yeah, I am a doctorate, but a professional doctorate. I'm not on a traditional doctorate per se. So this is so always it comes with a PD for professional doctorate because that is that's more this different from a traditional doctorate where my years of experience are converted into a professional doctorate course. So like the contributions that I've done in my work, in my volunteering, my interactions when I'm training, you know, the staff or the employees or vendors or even for that matter the NGOs that I train at. All those collective experiences kind of counted for the doctorate. So it's not a traditional doctorate where I write theses and all. So now I think we have changed the mode of education because with changing times we have to do that. So I'm privileged to be selected for this kind of education. And I would, stress on the impact of how skilling across various areas, regardless of which field you are in, even if you don't want to pursue cybersecurity as your core expertise, It's always important to be skilled in this area because it adds a lot of dimension to whichever role you're doing, be it coding, be it designing, be it project management, be it product development. Product security is an important element of that. Even if it is normal change management, there's a lot of security elements that come into it. So I would insist you keep upskilling in micro courses or do some kind of electives which are aligned to this based on whichever path within IT you choose. There's always a corresponding security element in it because security has to be baked into IT. It is not like an afterthought that, okay, now we've designed the product, now let's work on if we have to have security or not. If your product or your tool or your technology doesn't have security, you're missing the game right from the start. The product will not sell only in the market because all regulators want secure, safeguarded tools so that the attack surface area reduces. I hope you understand what I mean by attack surface area. It's basically the vulnerabilities are spread across the surface area now. So thanks, Lakshita, for that introduction. If we are waiting for more people, or should we start the session?
We can start the session, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So, so I would like to go over a few slides. I don't have too many slides. I have only about 5, 6 slides. It's going to be mostly case studies I'm going to cover in all those slides. So, can we show the slides? So,
sure, ma'am.
We can take it from there. So, at any point in time, if you have any questions, please pause and raise your hand. I will try to answer it right away, or we will park it for a later time if I'm going to cover that topic later. In the interest of time, because we have only 1 hour, and I'm sure everybody is like missing the match for this. If you're interested in the match, that is finals. I'm sure you people might be wanting to jump there. So I'll try to keep this for 1 hour. We'll have the slides up and we'll go in the sequence. You can park your questions for later or you can ask at that time. If I think it's valid, I'll take it up. Otherwise, I will answer at the end of the session. So how many students or engineering graduates or freshers do we have?
Ma'am, we have participants from varied backgrounds.
Okay. So not only IT, is it? We have non-IT folks also?
We have law students, we have forensic students, we have people from varied backgrounds.
Okay, good. So these are from different universities?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that's a good strength we got on a Sunday. 86 is huge. So I'm glad that there are so many women. Are these mostly women or they are?
Ma'am, they're both. They're men as well as men.
Okay. So I'm glad there are so many people inspired about cybersecurity. Is it because of the war or is it in general? See, the war thing will keep coming and going, but cybersecurity never sleeps. Whether there is war, there is no war. It is night or day. There will be, attack surfaces available for attack, and we will have to defend or offend based on the type of attack you get. So make sure you have one skilled your resources. If you or yourself are not skilled, and you're using the tools to the optimal. You should, if you're having multiple tools doing the same thing and you're not configuring them in the right way, you are losing out on this game. Are you showing the slides, Lakshita? I can't see the slides.
Just a second, ma'am.
So, Karima, I see. The thing is, after completion of graduation, if you're graduating in law, there are multiple areas you can select as a career. There is a legal counsel that you can take up at a company or at a startup or at a institute. You can also take up, in terms of representing different uh, companies in the cyber law arena, whether it is in a court or it is in a joint hearing, which is global in a global setup. So it depends on which kind of industry you want to get aligned to. Apart from that, even if you're doing law, you can even take up privacy as a elective, and use cyber law based on privacy laws. Basically, you can specialize in privacy laws and take that up as a area of your career. So if you don't want privacy, then you can take up AI governance. That is also coming up in a big way. So there are multiple avenues. Depends what your interest is. But whichever avenue you take, you need to have fundamental knowledge about cybersecurity, privacy, AI, IT. So that's not going to change. So only your I would say your mode of work or your area of work may specialize, but the knowledge that you need cross-functional knowledge to build upon. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. So yeah, so this is a little about the topic that we're going to cover today. So I have about, I would say, 2 decades of experience in information security, cybersecurity. So when I started my career, it was at that time called information security. And over a period of time, it has evolved into cybersecurity. It is used synonymously now. I mean, in replacement of each other, but actually it is not. Information security is wider. Cybersecurity is a part of infosec because it specializes in cyber related crimes and all of that. Information security is more generic. It is more broader spectrum. And I have about, I think, 10 plus years of experience just in IT audit, and about 7, 8 years of experience in GRC. And I have been contributing in like it as a volunteer in this space for over 7, 8 years now. I've seen one thing is that the thirst for knowledge across the board, whether it is a fresher or it is a mid-level, analyst, or it is a seasoned professional or even a leader, the thirst for knowledge in this area never ends because you need to be updated on the latest trends, the latest developments in technology, what are the workarounds. You need to be updated with all of that. So these kind of sessions really help you stay in touch with all of that and build upon your strengths as well. So we're talking about navigating global cybersecurity risks uh, using GRC strategies, which are essential for next generation technology leaders. So I would say 2 decades back when I started working, I was appalled at the way, InfoSec was being treated at work. It was just like a tick in the box, as one of the elements of an IT audit or one of the elements of a finance audit, where IT audit is a support function and infosec is a support function of IT audit. So we never used to get a say on the table saying that these are high critical risks. These are not just IT risks, these are enterprise risks, business risks, which will have huge impact if you don't address it. So from there, now we have come to a stage where cybersecurity is treated as the top risks in almost all companies. And the kind of budget that is spent, the number of tools people use, the number of skills, certifications that have come up in the last 20 years, it's humongous. It's like a wide domain. It is no longer just infosec. Infosec itself, if I may correct, there are about 35 to 40 domains just within infosec. So this is the kind of depth and breadth this function has. So you'll never be lost. There's always scope to learn across the function itself. I mean, if you don't want to specialize in infosec, just do a few areas. That itself will take you years to specialize in those areas. So don't get carried away by the fact that you want to do IT but you don't want to do infosec. That will not happen. If you are specializing in IT, you need to know infosec. You may not be an expert in infosec, but you need to know at least as many domains of infosec that support your IT specialization, if not more. Okay, go to the next slide, Lakshit. Yeah. So right now I'm working as a co-founder at a startup called Secure Mojo. So I work as a chief human risk intelligence officer. So my role here is not limited to IT. It is expanding more than IT in terms of data security, human risk security, and all of that. So typically, when we look at a global cybersecurity landscape, uh, digital transformation is a constant across this domain of IT. There's always advancements happening in the IT sector, and all the companies need to, catch up with the advancements. The latest one being your AI, and AI-driven IT and all of that. The upcoming ones are your quantum computing, IoT, and all that. So IoT's been there for decades, but now it's going into a more advanced version of serverless computing, of cloud-based AI bots and things like that, which are at a higher level. So if you want to be part of the IT journey, you have to pick up skills in cyber also. So the rise of cybercrime right now, it is estimated to be huge. It goes into billions. It's estimated to go to trillions in the next few years. So the more skilled we get and the more adept we get in treating and identifying and resolving cyber incidents, the better we will be at our job. Whether it is an IT job, it is an HR job, or it is a operations job, we need to have security as an element in that. So that's where GRC also comes into the picture, where GRC is not just about managing the technology risks within the enterprise, but it also takes care of the other elements like your cybersecurity maturity, the positioning of the enterprise to stakeholders in terms of the cyber risk scorecard that you have, where your key risk indicators, your key performance indicators get highlighted to the senior management. It is also about training your staff, training your vendors, your partners, training your customers also. If, for example, if it is a service company like a bank or insurance company, then sending those reminder emails to your customers on the do's and don'ts for digital security, for privacy, and all of that is important. And apart from that, it is also about, securing the supply chain function, that is across your vendor procurement cycle that is there right from the time you procure an IT or a technology platform or a hardware, or any tool. Right from that time till the time it gets into your production environment, the entire process of that supply chain, is it secure? That is also a part of the GRC function. So this I'm speaking broadly in terms of alignment to the NIST CSF 2.0 framework. This was recently introduced somewhere around 2023-24. And then all it was basically, it's a US guideline, it's a US regulatory requirement, mainly for critical infrastructure security. So if you're having like, for example, essential services like banking, like insurance, like healthcare, if these essential services are operating, they are supported by critical infrastructure. So if the bank goes down, it will not service an entire set of customers or a region of customers. Same way, if healthcare goes down, imagine during COVID, if your health hospitals go down, then they won't be able to service. They can't get the data, patient data. They can't get the latest test results. So these are critical infrastructures which are supporting it. So to keep them up and running, you need to align it to a framework, in the sense, adopt a framework so that all your controls are implemented and aligned as per this framework. So initially, we used to go by ISO 27001. That is the fundamental baseline standard. But especially if you're handling critical infrastructure like these few areas that I told you about, then it's highly recommended to go to NIST CSF 2.0. Especially if you're an MNC who has operations in US or global operations. But if you are an Indian firm with Indian footprint more, then you have many, regulations and industry frameworks within India itself, which you need to align first. For example, RBI has a set of regulations and guidelines for banking, for insurance. There are specific guidelines for privacy which has come up. There is guidelines which have come up for AI governance. So like that, you have to select which area you want to align, and you have to incorporate that. So I'll give you an example of how governance plays a role. I'm sure this was not long ago, 2017. There was a WannaCry ransomware attack which happened across the world. It basically exploited unpatched Windows SMB protocol flaw known as Eternal Blue. So this is a server message block, Microsoft server message block. This was unpatched. Like the particular thing was not patched for a very long time. And there was poor governance to identify that this patching was missing, and there was not effective governance to coordinate the whole effort of taking downtime for the patching, doing the patching, then testing it out before deployment, and all of that was missing. It was delayed more than a stipulated time, and the hackers used this as a easily available target to hit on all the systems that had not got patched. So it impacted, and disrupted many hospital workflows, the transport logistics, and many other businesses. So Microsoft was owning this entire remediation effort, and they issued an emergency patch, created global awareness campaigns on how important patching is. So the thing is, most times vendors, once they get a vulnerability in their system, they normally send out a patch. But the time difference between when they release a patch and when it actually gets deployed in your environment, that time difference is very critical. So if there's a delay in that, then you're just inviting hackers to come and hack you, because you are vulnerable, and that's the risk exposure that the organization has. So if you, for whatever reasons, you may have multiple reasons why you're not able to patch. So if you go down here, there are a few questions on why was the management sitting on for so long, not patching these systems. So there could be valid reasons. Maybe they had not received the patch from the vendor. Maybe they had not received downtime from the business staff. Maybe they were still testing it out and there were errors coming when they were putting into the production. There could be n number of business scenarios or IT scenarios. But the more mature your patching process is, the better you will, be able to expedite the patching on a timely basis. So typically, organizations use a hybrid mode where they automate patching as well as have manual checks in place. So that's the best way to go about, because I won't advise you to automate the whole thing in one go itself. It's always good to have a hybrid, so there's a maker checker kind of thing. And anywhere the automated system is not functioning properly, you have a hands-on support available. So this is very critical, where if your business is stressing on innovation, on growth, on business expansion, on revenue targets and all of that, but they are not addressing the process and the tools required to sustain all of this, in terms of patching governance, in terms of securing system hardlines, baselining the systems, it's the basic fundamental security controls. then you're missing the bus. I mean, you may do an expansion this year, and then within 6 months you may be hit by a ransomware. So it's better you get your systems, your enterprises secure, and then build from there for expansion. That's a more sure shot, foolproof way of ensuring that your expansion won't be disturbed. uh, there's no point increasing your revenue in one quarter and then next quarter being hit of a ransomware and losing more than double, triple of what you have made in revenue. That's not a wise, prudent decision for any business, I would say, regardless of the industry you're in, regardless of the IT technology you're using, regardless of the security tools you're using. So and many times, we there is also a dearth of skilled staff. So like they know the problem is XYZ, they know the risk is high, they also know that the management is asking very valid questions of, the tool benefit, the ROI, the time horizon of the ROI, and all of that. But you don't have skilled staff to articulate that, to present it in quantifiable terms and all. So it's very important that you train your staff. I mean, it's not just about having the right people in the right role. It is also empowering them with the right tools and the right training. So if they need to know something about a financial module so that they can come up with a quantitative analysis, they should go for a finance training, basic finance training, so that they know what are all the elements, what is the cycle of finance, what is the cycle of, say, manufacturing. They need to know these business elements so that they can come up with a more better report of quantifying the cybersecurity risks. Okay, it's not only technical. You have to translate all the technology risks into a financial quantitative number. So the business gets an idea, the stakeholders get an idea of how is the impact. Like if we don't fix this, we tend to lose like millions of dollars, not in 1 year, in subsequent years also. So they themselves will prioritize and budget for it in this year itself rather than doing it next year. So we need to enable them with these data points so that they can take informed decisions. That the onus is on the team for that, not necessarily on the senior management. They can guide you that, okay, go for this training and give me a better report. But as team leads, as process leads, you have to design the process and the tool in such a way that it works in tandem. Okay. So are there any questions till now? Okay, I see a couple of questions here in terms of what is the qualification experience required for ISO, CACIT, or with cybersecurity. For ISO, it is mandatory to do cybersecurity, I would say. Yeah, that's a to the point answer I'll give you. I could go on with it, but we'll come to that later. You can go to the next slide, Lakshita. Okay, so coming to governance and risk management in cybersecurity. So we just spoke of different cybersecurity, uh, lapses that could happen in a typical business. Does anybody want to share any few more examples of how you have encountered GRC gaps in your journey or in your experience? You can raise your hand and unmute and share. Go ahead.
You can unmute yourself, Pranavi.
Guys, we need to be mindful of the time. Make it fast. You can share on chat also if you want, if you're having problems. Unmute.
They can share their queries in the chat box. Meanwhile, we can continue.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so as I told you, GRC is not only about technology. It is also about the mindset, about the awareness of cybersecurity, about supply chain risks, about how you're tracking your cybersecurity maturity, and all of that. So, as I've mentioned here, one is tracking your cybersecurity maturity, and for that you need a strong risk assessment framework and methodology defined. This should be cognizant of both IT technology as well as infosec cybersecurity risks. And this should be enterprise wide. It should not be handling only IT function risks or only infosec risks. For example, there could be a training awareness issue from the HR side for the staff. There could be vendor management, vendor governance issues. There could be HR issues such as BGV not done or disciplinary action not being taken. So all these also need to be factored in, because these controls are a part of ISO 27001 framework, as well as part of NIST guidelines, as well they are part of regulatory frameworks by RBI also. So it's not restricted to only IT or infosec. Anything that is impacting data security or system security is covered in this. So, for example, if your staff is handling critical systems and they have not undergone a background verification on how their digital presence is, how secure is their mode of conduct, then that can impact your system. Indirectly, it can impact the business and the enterprise. So, all these things also get factored in. Now, I'll quote an example of Equifax breach here, this which happened in 2017. So here there was a vulnerability which was exploited uh, because of Apache Struts web application flaw, and it went unnoticed for months. It was probably suspected by criminal groups, state sponsored maybe, and this was also because of poor patch management. They didn't realize that there was this web application flaw which had to be patched. And again, weak governance. They were not monitoring it effectively. It did come up in audits, but then they didn't do a proper risk mitigation in spite of it being highlighted in the audits. And again, there was a lack of encryption. So the data that got compromised, that was easily readable, and there was a loss of data because of this, because the data was accessible, it was not encrypted. The hackers could easily read it and use it for their own purposes. And this was not a small breach, guys. This was a 147 million records of customers which were exposed. And Equifax got into big legal lawsuits, fines, which were implemented because of poor patching and governance frameworks. Specifically, to answer to one of the questions that I think somebody from the audience raised, I can't find the chat here. As to how is cybersecurity, related to law specialization was the question. I can't recollect who asked this question, but this is specifically to that person who asked that question. Lakshita, can you tell me who was that on the chat? I can't see the chat here.
Ma'am, it is from Garima Singh. The question is what profession we can take over post completion of
No, that one. This is by Rupesh Singh. He's saying, how is it relevant to the law students? So, Rupesh, this is for you specifically.
Okay.
If you are allowing customer data of this intensity to be compromised because of cybersecurity lapses such as lack of patching, lack of governance, lack of encryption, you're going to face big legal fines and suits, not just by the regulatory bodies, but also by the customers themselves. They can, there is right to privacy now, there is a right to data security also, which the customers can exercise. So if that comes into picture, you are in for a bad legal dispute. which will go on for years, and you will lose most of your revenue just fixing that only. So it's not about how does it impact law students. It impacts everybody. So in law, if you're not conversant of how to defend your company, saying that, okay, we have taken cyber insurance, so we won't have losses, it's fine. No. Even insurance, cyber insurance is based on what are all the security controls you have in place. Based on that, your premium is decided. So they will not blindly fund all your cyber losses. They will check what are the controls you have implemented. Have you done a risk-based mitigation? What is the plan for the next 5 years? What are you going to fix in the next 5 years? If there's a technology project already ongoing, what does that address? What all risks does it address? What is the percentage of high risks that are getting addressed? What is the percentage of joint risks? For example, 2 3 entities may be sharing a risk. So is it addressing such risks also? So it brings out the risk of the entire portfolio of the enterprise. So they will check all this and then determine your premium. So it's not just about transferring the risk or saying when the breach happens we will see. No, you will not get cyber insurance for first thing if this is your approach. Two, if you don't know these are the typical lapses that happen, you cannot defend or prepare your client for the worst. In terms of, you need to advise them, right? What will be the maximum penalty? So if they have not implemented half the controls, they don't have a governance SOP, they don't have a risk management tool, they don't have a GRC tool, they don't know how they're tracking the risks. You're not advising as a law professional to them that no, need to fix all this. If the audit has come up with these gaps and you have not fixed them, please fix them. These are high priority. So you advise the management as a legal counsel saying that please address these gaps. Otherwise, you will face, see, it's not a question of when the cyber attack will happen. Maybe it's already happened. The hackers are already sitting in your environment in stealth mode. So it's only going to increase the impact. So you need to be cognizant, one, of the consequence, the impact, and two, of what preparation they have done so that you can defend them in the court. I hope this addresses your query, Rupesh. Okay. So yeah, so now cybersecurity is no longer a compliance checkbox that, okay, you have been ISO 2701 certified. So now we'll come back next year to check cybersecurity. Now sleep. Now do your BAU and forget about cybersecurity. No, it doesn't work that way. You need to give monthly updates on the InfoSec posture to your stakeholders. For that, you need to do your daily patching. You need to do daily privilege access management. You need to do daily access controls. You need to do daily cloud security checks. So health checks of your systems. All this has to be done on a daily basis for you to send out that monthly report to your stakeholders. So it's not like a one-time thing that, acha, this project is done. This tool will take care of everything. So now I've done my work. No, it doesn't work that way. The maturity is assessed every year. So now you may be at 3.6 maturity. Next year you may be at 4. The subsequent year you may be at 4.2. Then you think, oh wow, I've reached 4.2, above 4, great, I'm 80% and above. But then now the regulation itself will change, and then the technology landscape will change, AI will come into the picture. So new regulations will be applicable. So then you again start for the new changes that have happened. So it's like a moving target. Please understand, cybersecurity is a moving target. You don't know the enemy, you don't know his, what do you call, his strengths. You only know your attack surface and your weaknesses. So regardless of whoever is the enemy, it is wise to fix your attack surface and your weaknesses. That's the best way to go, whether you want a cyber insurance or you want to transfer this to a vendor through outsourcing. Whatever is your scenario, it is best to fix it in a very structured way. You can go to the next slide. So I guess if you have any questions, in the interest of time, we'll do it in the end of the session. Okay. Okay, so this is important, cyber safety and digital wellness. So everybody has a digital presence, I assume. Please raise your hands who don't have a digital social media account. Okay, so everybody has a social media account. So this slide is very important for you. Uh, Regardless of which social media you have an account in, regardless of what is the nature of friendships that you make, whether they are known professional connects or known classmates, batchmates, or your professors or any common friends, you have to always be alert that these IDs are verifiable. I'm not sure if you're aware there are ghost IDs. They are actually fake IDs which just show up for a few days, have spam accounts, and then they disappear. So you don't know who you shared the data with, you don't know who you shared the number with. You're thinking, oh, that person will call, but that is a fake account just to get your username, or you get your phone number or your credit card detail or whatever it is. So be mindful of whom you're sharing your mobile number to, or whom you're doing, purchases. Nowadays you can purchase on Facebook, on WhatsApp, through Facebook, through Instagram. You can just go and buy. So if you don't have a verified account, you're not sure of the account, you are not able to call the person before purchase, I would strongly advise you to refrain from making such purchases, because it's not safe. It's better to go down to your known neighborhood market and buy from there. It hardly takes any effort. Everything is so accessible in India. We should be lucky that we have all types of presence. We have malls, we have markets, we have our next door neighbor who's doing some business. So we have all avenues open. So why do you want to go online if it's an unverified account? So be mindful of that. And you think that you don't know, but now people are using AI and cloud to know what are your spend patterns, what are your preferences, what are your likes, which are the websites you frequent, which are the kind of products you buy. There is a lot of profiling done online. So once your data is on the web, it stays forever. So it's like a black hole. Data on the web, once it goes, it is a black hole. It will never come back or never be deleted. So that footprint is always there for eternity. So be mindful on what you're sharing online. There is a famous hack which happened of Twitter in 2020. I'm purposely sharing you case studies so you know that this is happening in real time. These are not one-off things. I've just shared one case study here. I could give you innumerable ones for each scenario. Now, this happened where social engineering attacks were done on employees who had admin access to the Twitter, the systems. This was coordinated by young hackers, coordinated effort by multiple hackers who were young, and they compromised the weak internal access controls, and the employees who are not aware of the cyber malpractices that are happening, they use that to their advantage to gain the ingress point into the systems, and then hijacked high profile accounts and then started posting through these celebrity or known high value individual accounts in terms of invest in this and we'll double your income, your investment, or sign up for this and this is a good investment plan and things like that. And these were known public figures. They used their accounts, created fake ID or compromised their accounts, used their IDs to send out these Twitter messages, and they even got investments into those accounts. There were many people who invested looking at that. They trusted, and they actually had people like Elon Musk and some presidents and all, president of countries and all, those accounts, and got into that kind of scamming. So Twitter had faced several issues because of this, and they strengthened their internal access policy and did employee training and all. But even after this, I found later in the last 3 4 years also, Twitter's security controls were not fine. they could be easily compromised through weak API security and all. So this is a critical problem not just for Twitter. Okay, it is across all platforms, whether it is Meta or it's Instagram or it's WhatsApp. All social media platforms that have the reach, any ID, any digital presence that has millions of followers, they use these as targets to reach out to that entire follower base and use scamming tools to get the data out. I mean, get the money out or get their information out so they can plan another attack. So you have to be mindful. Just because this update is coming from Elon Musk's post doesn't necessarily mean that he's only posted it. I think recently there was another situation where our finance minister's, you know, video was posted that invest in this or something like that. So they are even using deep fakes, which is used through AI to generate such videos and urge people to invest and all. So you have to be very mindful. Whatever you see online, please take it with a pinch of salt. It is not true always. You can go to the next slide, Lakshita. Okay, so we are talking about cybercrime prevention and legal considerations. So, uh, I'm sure you're aware of the types of cyber crimes that happen. There's identity theft where your account gets compromised or gets stolen, and you are not able to log in. The hackers are logging into your account and creating fake IDs, fake messages, and all. And there's ransomware where they take your data or take your documents, encrypt it, and say if you need access to them back, then you have to pay a ransom. That's ransomware. Uh, uh, and they do this through malware. They install malware through either by sending it through your email or through some document. Once you open it or install it, the malware captures all your data and encrypts it and sends it to the hacker. So then you no longer have access to these documents. Then there's a financial fraud. That's basically cyber frauds where you lose money in investment scams or in insurance scams, anything like that. The legal framework is there for this. There have been laws for this. There have been specific laws which have got amended also for this. So anybody studying law, this is another area which is very relevant. Why cybersecurity is relevant to cyber laws. Uh, there is also a requirement where you need to back up this data, because if you lose the data, that's one thing, but if you pay the ransom, you may get into trouble further. They know that you are gullible, you will pay the ransom, so they may do the continue to do this. So as long as you have the backup of your data, you can be confident that it's okay, the data is gone, it's fine, but I'm not going to pay the ransom for this. So you should have data backup at all times. And there's a challenge of having GRC being implemented in a cross-border manner, so that the law enforcement can resolve these kind of multi-jurisdictional cyber crimes. So the governments are working together to have such things in place. Every country has a computer emergency response team. Certain is for India, computer emergency response team India. So you have specific teams like this who work across countries to solve these kind of multi-pronged cyber crimes. I am a qualified, certified cyber crime intervention officer. So if there are any such cyber incidents, it gets flagged to these CCIOs and certain teams who work with law enforcement to get the you know thing resolved, the issue resolved. And I'm just giving a basic example of Colonial Pipeline attack, which happened in 2021, where the VPN credentials of the company, Colonial Pipeline, which provides Colonial Pipeline actually is a Texas-based company. It provides gas to the energy fuel to the I think to the northwestern part of the country. You can Google it up. To the East Coast, sorry, to the U.S. East Coast, it provides gas over there. And what they did was they compromised the VPN account. The VPN account was inactive virtual private account, which is used to secure the channel of communication. VPN is used for a secure channel, for establishing a secure channel. So this particular VPN account was inactive for many months. They compromised that account. They used the password to gain access. And unfortunately, that account didn't have multi-factor authentication. So, that is one big lapse. Plus, they were not doing proper governance to check which are the dormant accounts. So, if this had come into the radar that they have such dormant accounts, they should have fixed it right there. So, there was a governance lapse, there was an access control lab, there was a multi-factor authentication which was missing. So, all this led to the hackers gaining access into this account and penetrating through the network. So there was also a lack of segmentation, network segmentation for critical infrastructure that was, governing the supply of fuel to the other part of the country. So with all these kind of critical data points not being taken care, critical controls not being taken care, and these data points not being reported to the senior management on a proactive basis, the management didn't know how to prioritize these risks and address them. So they just lived thinking that everything is going fine, and this happened. So it was a state sponsored Russian linked attack, is what it was reported. But the company had to pay ransom for this. And then eventually they strengthened their authentication and segmentation, network segmentation, so that future attacks can be avoided. But what I'm saying is, it's not a question of when you will be attacked. You may have already been compromised. You don't know it because you're not tracking it. So this is another place where law students can be of use, where they can guide the governance team, saying that you need to report your infosec health to the senior management on a periodic basis. Only then they can take informed decisions. Okay, Lakshita, go to the next slide. Okay, I can't reiterate this more, that awareness and capacity building, that is skill development for all functions across the enterprise, is very important. You There are different types of trainings that you can do. You can do structured awareness programs. You can do simulation of phishing attempts. That's called phishing, anti-phishing campaigns. You can do bite-sized training for different infosec topics. You can do role-specific training for your employees. That is somebody who's into software development. You can do, coding, secure coding training for them. Somebody who is into data security, they can undergo privacy training. They can undergo Aadhaar related control based training. They can undergo your basic infosec lead auditor training, because that's basic information security control framework. Somebody who's into data center security, they can undergo specific data center related trainings. So there are different types of training available. So it's not only that one infosec annual training you have done means you've checked the box. No, there are variations of it. You may need different multiple scenarios to be tested out. If you're going, for example, there could be product security training, there could be cloud security training, there can be AI governance training, there can be n number of trainings with the same flavor but specific controls for those areas. And these kind of trainings help the process leads to function as risk managers for their function, for their unit, for their process. So then, they become risk champions for the enterprise, for their function. So they have that critical mindset to think that, oh, my process has been working as BAU for so many years, but there are these security gaps. We don't have 2FA. I'm not monitoring privileged access of admins. I'm not doing patching. I'm not doing backup for my database. Oh, I don't have database encryption. I'm not using a secure channel for transmission. I don't have encryption. So, these are things that the risk champion himself can identify. But if he's not trained, he will not know, he or she will not know that, oh, this is not a BAU activity. I should refine this process. I should enhance it further. So then he can't ask the management, okay, give me budget for this. Suddenly, end of the year, they will come and say, oh, we may be hit by a ransomware, so we want to upgrade the patching. And that's too late for the management to decide. They'll be like, all these years you said it's going fine. Suddenly, why you want so much budget? So, these are things which you cannot ignore. You have to build the capability of your process team, of your front end staff. For example, bank tellers also will undergo training, to avoid social engineering attacks and all. So these are basic skills which every role function has to be customized. Okay. So there was an example for this is a target breach in 2013. That was long back. That's when the vendor credentials got compromised. The vendor was providing cooling, that is HVAC. High intensity cooling systems are called HVAC, and they basically use in data centers and server rooms and all. So this HVAC vendor or contractor, he was using some credentials to log into targets systems for maintenance and all. So his vendor credentials got compromised, and there was poor vendor risk management, and they had to fix that along with weak network segmentation, which also had to be addressed. So this was not a small incident. There were 40 million credit and debit cards stolen through this attack. So you can imagine that can translate to how much of losses. There's reputation loss, apart from financial loss, apart from customer base getting lost, apart from the fact that the infrastructure itself had to be overhauled because network segmentation was required. They had to get the right vendor controls in place. So a lot of things had to be fixed. So this is not a one-time effort, guys. This is a evolving process because the target is also moving. Now they address this. Who knows, through this attack they could have facilitated some other attack also. So you have to be secure from all fronts. It's a defense in depth approach. Just fixing only the access control or only the vendor risk is not going to help. You have to go on all levels. For example, if you have cloud presence, you have to fix that also. So it's not access for the on-premise, it's also access for the cloud. So these are multiple areas. You can go to the next slide. So if there are any questions, please park it. Is this the last slide? I think so. Can you just go to the next?
I believe.
Yeah, so this is again about how GRC strategies are shaping up next generation requirements for tech leaders. So there is this requirement where GRC is used as an enabler for digital transformation. But typically, GRC, if it's done manually, it's very cumbersome. It takes a lot of time, effort, and many times organizations are not able to see the ROI or the benefit. So that's why it's advised to use GRC tools. There are many GRC tools in the market. For example, there is one dedicated tool which all functions use. All the risks are listed in this tool by different functions. So, for example, if there's an internal audit that happens, or there is a vendor risk assessment that happens by the outsourcing team, then all these risks are reported in that tool, and then it's assigned to the individual function holders, where some may be IT related, some may be business related, some may be customer related, CRM function related. So all these get assigned to those teams, and then they update saying that, okay, we have remediated this, no, we need more time for this. we need approval for this. So it's like a workflow based GRC tool, which all the functions can access. So it's a central source of information, golden source of information, from which all functions can update their status of remediation and also check on what's the latest high risk, low risk items that they need to work on. So this is now this is going to the next level. They're trying to build AI capability into this GRC tools. So it's highly advised that you gain hands-on experience on tools, security tools, one being the GRC tool, because that gives you the overview of the entire security landscape. There is this example of SolarWinds supply chain attack where one of their software, the software updates for the Orion software was compromised, which impacted the supply chain security. And there were insufficient software updates because of this, so they had not updated it timely, and that affected the supply chain workflow system that was being used. So Fortune 500 companies that the SolarWinds was supporting, all of them got impacted by this. So SolarWinds had to strengthen their supply chain security. This happened in 2020, and mind you, NIST NIST, the earlier framework was still applicable for critical infrastructure, but NIST itself uh, republished, like amended the NIST cybersecurity framework and published the latest version somewhere in end of 2023, mandating all critical infrastructure supporting organizations to include governance as the first pillar for cybersecurity framework. So governance was formally included in that, NIST framework. So initially, NIST was only identified, detect, protect, recover, respond. But now in that 5 categories, they also included govern. Govern was the first pillar where supply chain was covered. So personally, I feel every service or every product, it is critical for somebody or the other. So for example, healthcare is critical for all the patients who are visiting hospital or are doing remote treatment or whatever. Financial institutes are important for everybody who has a bank account, everybody who does fintech payments and all. Similarly, somebody who's doing, who's into entertainment, their bread and butter is through entertainment. So that is also critical for them. If one day they're not able to send, the entertainment feeds, then their business suffers because their subscription will go down. So personally, critical infrastructure is of varied nature. It can be on different priorities. Somebody can stay without watching movies and YouTube videos for some time, but nobody can stay without grocery apps, without healthcare and finance and all. So you have to be mindful that you start your journey of assessing where your weaknesses are and start fixing them. You cannot be fixing everything overnight. It is a gradual process, but you should know where to apply what, and you cannot directly graduate into AI driven tools. Okay, your environment should be in a mature position to support AI tools. So before going to AI, do a health check, get yourself ISO certified, see whether you are offering some critical infrastructure services, then get yourself aligned to NIST or the regulation which is aligned to your industry, whether it's HIPAA or whatever it is. HIPAA is for healthcare. PCI DSS is for your credit card systems and all. So see where it's a journey. So at least start somewhere. Okay. Go to the next slide. I think we are done. From what I remember.
Yes, ma'am. This was the last.
Yeah. So if you see the training that leaders need to take for cybersecurity is different. The training that freshers need to take is different. The training that specialists need is different. So you need to see which area is lacking in your enterprise and accordingly train yourself for individual areas. Okay. So to answer your question, how to start invest in cybersecurity as business owner from beginning to advanced cost breakdown. That is out of this course syllabus. I can't give a kind of a brief response to that. But I think the basics of cybersecurity functions, you need to make sure those are available as a service to your organization, uh, whether it's risk assessments or it is cloud platform assessments or it's regulatory assessments. These are the basic things that a cybersecurity firm should be able to give to an organization. So you can start from there. Yeah, the PDF it would be shared, Lakshita, the slides.
Yeah,
Somebody is
ma'am.
asking.
The,
Yeah.
the presentation will be shared in the group.
Okay, so share it as a PDF version and please correct those points. I think my intro had some incorrect things, so just fix that. This slide is up to date. So if you're sharing this slide, you can share it as is. I think I've already updated my details here.
Sorry, ma'am, for the inconvenience, but we'll take care of it from here on.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Any other questions anyone has, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. We can take it offline. I'm just mindful of the fact that we have only an hour. We are 8:05 now. So you are free to spend your Sunday night on doing research on where you want to do cybersecurity in your career area. LinkedIn, Lakshita, can you please share my LinkedIn account if with the team? I think some of them are asking.
Yeah, we can. I'll share in the chat board here itself,
Yeah,
and
okay.
we can share it in the group as well.
Yeah. So we can connect offline for any other queries you have. Uh, do you have time for a couple of queries, Lakshita, or should we take
Yeah,
it
ma'am.
offline?
Participants, if have any query, they can put it in the chat box or they can unmute themselves and.
Okay, so Rupesh, regarding dealing with emerging tech like AI, blockchain, and deepfakes, yeah, so there are a host of courses available for AI, blockchain, deepfakes. You can check on LinkedIn. There are many institutes and companies like Google, IBM, MIT. All these are offering free courses for AI. So you can take those courses. You can check the feeds on LinkedIn. I have myself liked some of the posts, so I can share that with you offline if you have anything. GRC, yes, there is a certificate. You can reach out to NCSSP. They are trying to build a GRC certificate. So once that's done, I don't know any other specific institute that gives GRC certificate because I learned it on the job. Like I didn't really do a certificate for GRC, but yes, ISACA has a C risk certificate and a CGIET certificate, which is relevant to risk management and governance. So you can avail of ISACA. ISACA is a known institute, professional institute that is used. Like they have a famous CISA certificate, which I have done. So you can take the C risk or the CGIT certificate from ISACA that is related to governance. Uh, Thank you for your wishes, Rupesh. Wishing everybody happy International Women's Day. It was a great collaboration to talk to all of you. I hope you have some clarity more on what are all the possible risks and how you can secure your enterprises with them, from them being
Rajendra, if you have any query,
exploited.
you can unmute yourself.
Good evening, Priyanka ma'am. Ma'am, may I audible?
Yes, I can hear you.
Uh, Ma'am, thank you for your insightful speech. Ma'am, thank you. Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ma'am, recently I have seen that government is not able to regulate the UPI payments. Ma'am, because due to we have different numbers and different contacts, we can pay anybody any much amount. So, ma'am, is there is a lacking of any statutory regulations by the government or RBI?
So you will get details in Aadhaar regulation. There is an Aadhaar regulation which is there, and there is a separate regulation by RBI for fintech companies where they have covered on what are the security parameters that these companies should build into their products and services so that there are no accidental payments or money can be recovered if it's sent or to illegal third party. Like for example, there are clauses on money laundering, on scams and all. So you will find some data over there in these kind of regulations and guidelines.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, so the account was 100 odd when we started. So that was a good strength. We managed to do the first one itself had so many, so that was heartening to see that.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the enlightening session.
Yeah, thank
This
you. It's my privilege to be part of this
this
session.
discussion has set a strong foundation for all of us as learners and practitioners in the field of digital safety, governance, and innovation space.
Great, great. I'm privileged to be part of this foundation. It's a great way to spark interest amongst non-IT and non-infosec teams to take this as at least a vocation or an elective, if not as a mainstream area, because everybody has to learn about security. It's not about just the infosec team or only the IT team that's responsible. If you see my thank you slide that says information security is incomplete without you. So every person in the enterprise, in the ecosystem, needs to up their skills in infosec. So thank you for the very thought-provoking questions. I'm sure it would benefit the other audience also. So you can always reach out to me offline on LinkedIn. And wish you a safe digital journey. We are on the brink of having AI infused into all our digital products. So we have to be mindful on how we use it. So all the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
With
Thank you
this,
for having me.
With this, our Cyber Sunday session comes to an end. Hope you all enjoyed this discussion. On behalf of Naksh Foundation and Project CyberShield, we extend our sincere gratitude to Ms. Priyanka Sundar for delivering such an insightful and engaging session. Her clarity and real world examples have given all of us a strong beginning to this journey of digital safety, governance, and compliance in the cyber world. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Ma'am, when we will get our pass certificate, pass certificate?
Let's keep these questions for the end, Anush. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. All the best, everyone. Thank you.
With